Imagine this, you're floating in the quiet blue, sunlight flickering above when you spot something small and delicate, almost invisible, a transparent bell, no bigger than your thumbnail, pulsing gently through the water. It looks harmless, it looks fragile, but what you're looking at may be the closest thing to biological immortality that has ever existed on Earth. This is Turritopsis Dohrnii, better known as the Immortal Jellyfish, and unlike any other creature known to science, it can do something that breaks the rules of life itself. It can age in reverse. Let's start with a mind-bending fact. Every living thing we know, from humans to bacteria, follows a biological arc. We're born, we grow, we age, and eventually, we die. But the immortal jellyfish doesn't play by those rules. When it faces danger, starvation, or old age, it doesn't decay or fade away. Instead, it performs what scientists call transdifferentiation, a process so bizarre, it's like rewriting the ending of its own story. It transforms its adult cells back into their earliest form, becoming young again, resetting its body to start a brand new life cycle. Think of it like a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar and then doing it all over again. There's no limit to how many times it can do this. In theory, this jellyfish could live forever. To understand how extraordinary this is, we need to look closer at what's actually happening inside that tiny gelatinous body. When most jellyfish reach adulthood, their cells have specific jobs. Some become muscle cells, others nerve or reproductive cells. Once specialized, they normally can't go back. It's like a career path with no U-turns. But Turritopsis dohrnii breaks that rule completely. When it's injured or stressed, it sinks to the ocean floor, curls inward, and its body begins to dissolve. Then, cell by cell, it reorganizes itself into a brand new form, a polyp, the earliest stage of jellyfish life. This is the same stage it started from, before it ever became a jellyfish. It's not reincarnation, not cloning, it's self-reversal, a total reset button at the cellular level. In scientific terms, it's like forcing your skin cells to turn back into stem cells and rebuild your entire body from scratch, perfectly, with no genetic damage. No other known multicellular animal can do this completely. So, where does this miniature miracle exist? Despite its almost mythical status, Turritopsis dohrnii is real and quietly floating across the world's temperate and tropical oceans. It's often found in the Mediterranean Sea, near Japan, and off the coasts of Panama and Spain. But it's likely spread much farther through global shipping routes. You could be looking at a container ship's hull, and right below it, a tiny transparent jellyfish could be reversing time. Its size makes it easy to miss. Only about 4 to 5 millimeters in diameter. You could fit a dozen of them on a coin. And yet, it holds the key to something that humans have chased for centuries: the ability to never grow old. Now, before you imagine armies of deathless jellyfish taking over the oceans, there's a catch. Immortal doesn't mean unkillable. The immortal jellyfish can still be eaten by predators, swept away by currents, or destroyed by disease. What makes it immortal is not immunity to harm. It's the biological potential to avoid aging indefinitely. In a safe, ideal environment, it could theoretically regenerate forever. But in the chaotic wild, nature usually finds a way to end even the most extraordinary lives. Still, from an evolutionary perspective, this ability is beyond extraordinary. While every other organism struggles against time, this jellyfish has quietly made peace with it. So, how exactly does it work? Scientists have been trying to decode this for decades. The process starts when the jellyfish's cells detect severe stress, starvation, injury, or environmental shock. This triggers a chain reaction. Certain genes wake up that are usually dormant in adults. Those genes start reprogramming specialized cells back into stem-like cells. Then, through a process called cellular transdifferentiation, those stem-like cells turn into completely new types of tissue. Muscle becomes nerve, nerve becomes skin, and so on. The end result, a genetically identical but completely rejuvenated version of the jellyfish. In simple terms, it doesn't just heal, it starts over. It's no surprise that the immortal jellyfish has captured human imagination everywhere. To scientists, it represents a living blueprint for biological rejuvenation. To philosophers, it raises questions about the meaning of mortality. And to biotechnologists, it's a potential window into anti-aging research. If we could understand exactly how it cells reverse specialization without error, it might open the door to repairing human tissues, or even slowing our own aging process. But for now, that's still science fiction. The jellyfish's genetic map is incredibly complex, and copying nature's code is much harder than observing it. Still, this creature gives us a glimpse into what nature is capable of. Not eternal youth for humans, but a deeper respect for how evolution experiments with life itself. Back in the 1980s, a German marine biologist named Christian Sommer was studying hydrozoans in Italy. While he was observing colonies in petri dishes, he noticed something really strange. Adult jellyfish, when stressed, were actually shrinking and morphing back into their earlier stage, instead of dying. He'd accidentally witnessed a life cycle reversing itself. When scientists confirmed that this process could happen indefinitely, it became one of the most significant biological findings of the late 20th century. To this day, researchers around the world are still studying Turritopsis Dohrnii in labs, trying to fully understand how this immortality loop works. But as with all incredible discoveries, it comes with questions. If an animal can live forever, what does that mean for its ecosystem? Could immortality, even for a jellyfish, create imbalance? Luckily, in this case, the answer seems to be no. The immortal jellyfish reproduces slowly and stays small. It's not dominating its environment or outcompeting others. Nature just has a way of maintaining equilibrium, even when, one of its creatures bends the rules of life. Yet, it does remind us of something deeper, that in the vast complexity of Earth's oceans, we still barely understand what's possible. There may be thousands of species with secrets like this, quietly defying the limits we think are absolute. Across human history, we've sought immortality in myths and legends, the fountain of youth, elixirs, digital consciousness. But the real example of eternal renewal was quietly floating in the sea all along. It's not powerful, not beautiful by conventional standards, not even visible to the naked eye most of the time. And yet it outsmarts time itself. This jellyfish doesn't just symbolize endurance, it actually symbolizes acceptance. Instead of resisting nature's challenges, it adapts perfectly to them. When it's injured, it resets. When it's starving, it regrows. And when all else fails, it starts again, endlessly, gracefully, and honestly, without fear. Here's what makes this story more than just biology. It's a lesson about resilience. Human life is fragile and fleeting, but perhaps immortality isn't about endless time. Maybe it's about renewal, about finding a way to begin again when the odds say we shouldn't. The immortal jellyfish reminds us that sometimes survival isn't about being the strongest or the biggest. It's about transformation, about changing form, adapting, and continuing no matter what happens. So the next time you look at the ocean, remember this tiny creature, almost invisible, just floating quietly in the blue. It doesn't conquer the sea, and it doesn't cheat death. It simply outlives it, one rebirth at a time. In a world where everything has an ending, one small jellyfish rewrote the rules, proving that even in nature, forever is sometimes real.